Hari Om. We are currently discussing Module 3 of Software Engineering. In the previous video, we have discussed the different definitions for software design and the different types, also the objectives and the importance of design phase. So this video, we are going to talk about the strategy of design. We have also discussed why a good system design is important in software engineering. These are the points we discussed in the previous video that talks about why a good system design strategy is required. One, to organize the program modules. The other one, to help the developers. And the third important one, even if you have pre-existing code, you need to organize them to wrap them together in your in your application. And also, if you want to write some new codes also, you need to have a good system design strategy. Now, this video we are going to talk about what are the three different types of software design, or we can call it as the three techniques used for software design. It includes bottom-up approach, top-down approach and hybrid design. Let us see what is a bottom-up design. Now, when you take a bottom-up design, the approach begins with the lower details and it moves towards up the hierarchy. Now, the diagram here it depicts the bottom-up approach begins with the lower details. These are the lower details, the atomic details, and it is going to move up towards the hierarchy in this way. So here the diagram is given in upside down so that we can understand the lower level modules are integrated here, right? So this is the highest level and these are the lower levels. Now this is a very common approach which is used to identify modules that are required by many different programs. Now these modules will be collected together in the form of libraries generally, and bottom-up approach is suitable in the case when you have an existing system. So if your application is already existing, if you have an existing system, then you can go for the bottom-up design. You can go for the bottom-up design because the modules are already existing. So you need to understand how these modules can be integrated together. Now, this particular approach will lead to a style of design where we decide how to combine these modules to provide larger one. So this is very important in the bottom-up approach. You have to combine the modules here and you have to understand how to combine and what are the modules to be combined here. So here the design will be progressing from the lower level modules, the lowest level module, and it will be combining the modules together to form the higher level modules. Okay. Now this particular method is having one weakness because the functionality of the module, if you want to provide, you need to have better experience in the case of combining the modules. And not only that, if you get it wrong in the lower level, obviously the highest level will also have all sort of errors in your program application. So bottom-up design is suitable only for the existing system. Now the next design strategy is called as top-down design. So in the top-down design, it starts by identifying the major modules of the system. Suppose say often when we discuss the software engineering, I give you an example of college management system. So when you take college management system, the major modules of college management system you have to first identify. Say for example, admission process is one of the modules. Student management is another module. Teacher management is another module. So you identify all these kind of major modules. Then what we are going to do, we are going to decompose them into lower level modules. So this process will be iterated until the desired level of the detail is achieved. So you can call this as a stepwise refinement. Why? Because it starts from an abstract design, right? So when you talk about the major modules, it is going to give you a very abstract design. And in each step, the design will be refined to a more concrete level. Because when you start decomposing them, what happens? You are going to bring in more and more details to the system. So when you give more and more details to the system, obviously it becomes more it will be refined to a more concrete level. And we are going to repeat this process up to where you are going to repeat it until you reach a level where no more refinement is required and the design can be implemented directly. So until you get this particular stage, you are going to refine it again and again. So this is the top-down design. So most design methodologies are based on this particular approach, and this is suitable if the specifications are clear and the development is from the scratch. So if you are going to start with a very new project, in the previous case we have seen bottom-up design is suitable for the existing system. So if you have some modules and if you want to modify the existing system, it's fine to adopt the bottom-up approach. But if you want to have the top-down design, remember it must be a software which you are going to create from the scratch. A new software you are going to develop. And not only that, if the specifications are clear and the development is from the scratch, then you can go for the top-down design. So two more points that you have to add here. If the specification is clear, let me add it here. The design can be adopted if the specifications are clear and the development is from the scratch. So this is one of the important point that you have to remember. So when we go for bottom-up design, is you go for the bottom-up approach if you have the existing system, whereas the top-down approach will be adopted if all the requirements, specifications here it means the requirements, if all the requirements are very clear and understandable and the development is from the scratch, that means you are going to develop a very new software, then you can go for the top-down design. Now the next design approach is called as the hybrid design. Now if you take the top-down and bottom-up, for the software development, pure top-down or pure bottom-up approaches are not often used practically. It is not often practical to have both pure top-down approach or pure bottom-up approach. So for a bottom-up approach to be successful, we must have some of the what do you call it as some of the features of top down approach also to be included here. So what we are going to do, if you want to have bottom up approach, then the whatever what do you call it as sorry, if you want to have bottom up approach, just blend some of the good features of top down approach, or if you want to have top down approach, blend some of the features of bottom up approach also. So blending them together in an optimum manner will give you the best hybrid design. So most of the time what the software engineers prefer will be the top down approach, and for the top down approach to be effective, some bottom up approach is also essential. Why it is essential? These are the reasons. One reason is you want to permit some common submodules. You want to permit some common submodules. So when I say you want to permit some common submodules, so you can see here in the top down design, this is a major module which is decomposed into smaller modules. This is a major module which is decomposed into smaller modules. Suppose, say for example, for this module I have a submodule like this, and this submodule can also be used as a submodule for this. That is, this module, let me call it as A, and this module, let me call it as B. Both A and B are going to have common submodule, which is this one, right? So in that case, you can go for a hybrid design. So whenever you want to permit some common submodules, you can go for the hybrid design. And not only that, near the bottom of the hierarchy, the need for bottom-up testing is greater because there are more number of modules at low levels than the higher level. So if you take the bottom-up approach, so in the bottom-up approach, you have more number of modules. So testing is more vigorous in the bottom layer or in the bottom level. So in that case, you go for the hybrid design. And not only that, in the use of pre-written library modules when you are going to reuse the modules. So just imagine that you are going to have the top-down design. This is the top-down design. You decomposed it, and when you have decomposed it, you have identified this module can make use of a library module. If this is a library module, so this library module is going to already existing. So if it is already existing, you are going to just integrate it. So when you integrate it, it becomes a bottom-up design. So in that case also, you can use the hybrid design. So these are the three reasons you can mention when you are going to use hybrid design, or why we are going to use the hybrid design. So this hybrid approach is really a very popular approach when people started reusing the modules. So whenever reusability of the modules come into existence or come into the scene of developing a software, you can go to the hybrid design. Say for example, the standard libraries that are available, or your Microsoft Foundation classes like MFCs, or object oriented concepts of already existing classes, etc., then we go for the hybrid design. So the hybrid design, you use the top down approach, decompose it and bring the bottom modules. In the same way, if you have existing libraries available like this, you go for combining them to get the higher level. So this is what you call as different strategies or techniques that are used for developing a software design. Okay. So in the next video, we are going to talk about what is modularization, because whenever we call the strategies, each node is represented as a module. So that means the complete software is now modularized. If so, how you can go for modularization process? What are the concepts that you have to consider while modularizing while modularizing your software? So that we will be discussing in the next video. Thank you.